Good evening to all the delegates, professionals. You able to hear me?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah, I'm audible. Okay, good. So welcome to IIMM, this Hyderabad branch. We are conducting this program on the EXIM Logistic challenges and way forward to deal with this. So with this topic we are starting because we thought in the recent past, because of the various incidents happened, one is followed with the COVID and followed with many other incidents also happened, like surplus then followed by again war situation, then again second wave, third wave, and the Chinese wave again started about the COVID. So I request all of you to mute. Hello, I request all of you to mute the mics. So because of the various incidents happened one after the other for the last almost like 2 years and plus it is going on, but still there are a lot of uncertainties are continuing with the logistics mainly and related to the supply chain. And because of the various government regulations, lockdowns and restrictions, and recent days, because of the Russia and Ukraine, that war situation, because of a lot of restrictions and fluctuation in the prices, and these are all creating certain hindrance for the smooth flow of the supply chain. So therefore we thought in this session we'll discuss about the export and import related logistics, what are the challenges and what are the measures recently government also taken to address these challenges, and how to address also strategically some practical issues we will be discussing. So we called Mr. Kamal Jain, who is in a logistics industry for quite long years, and he is a good expert in this field. Of course, I will ask Mr. Kamal Jain, he will himself will introduce, and they are also our sponsors for this program. The Cargomen is the sponsor for this program. Okay. Before we are going forward, I must just make certain introduction about our Hyderabad branch and IIMM. So let us go through the small video, then we'll hand over to the Kamal Jain sir.
IIMM Hyderabad wishes you peace, prosperity, wisdom and success for the new year 2022. Let's start the new year with new hopes to associate with Indian Institute of Materials Management IIMM. To start a new beginning for career growth, professional insights and knowledge sharing. Indian Institute of Materials Management IIMM, with its headquarters at Navi Mumbai, is the national apex body representing a wide spectrum of professionals engaged in various facets of material management, responsible for planning, sourcing, procurement, logistics, stores and warehousing and supply chain management. The Indian Institute of Materials Management IIMM is a professional body approved by Ministry of Human Resources, Government of India, ISTE. The institute is a chartered member of International Federation of Purchasing and Supply Management IFPSM, Finland. With wide network of 52 branches and 19 chapters having around 9,000 members drawn from public and private sectors. The institute is engaged in imparting training and conducting professional courses recognized by AICTE, Government of India. The institute also regularly organizing MDP and EDP programs, engaged in promotion of research, in collaboration with industry for furthering the professional advancement of materials management and its
Indian Institute of Materials Management
mission, to promote professional excellence in materials management towards national prosperity through sustainable development. Objective: to secure a wider recognition of and promote the importance of efficient materials management in commercial and industrial undertakings. To safeguard and elevate the professional status of individuals engaged in materials management faculty. To constantly impart advanced professional knowledge and thus improve the skill of the person engaged in the materials management function. Propagate and promote among the members strict adherence to IIMM Code and ethics. 5 compelling reasons why to join IIMM as a member. To advance your professional and career growth. To keep abreast of latest developments and enhance your knowledge base. Receive monthly Journal Materials Management Review (MMR), having high-quality articles. Opportunity to enhance professional networking. IIMM has 52 branches,
19 chapters,
with around 9,000 members. Various programs, webinars, seminars, workshops and professional meets are organized at branch level and national level. IIMM is a professional platform to share your experience and expertise. We invite subject matter experts to share knowledge and information of latest technological and professional developments.
Indian Institute of Materials Management (IIMM) is conducting AICTE, Government of India recognized 2-year distance education courses. PG Diploma in Materials Management (PGDMM) and PG Diploma in Supply Chain Management and Logistics (PGDSCMNL).
Take this opportunity to enhance your career growth by joining these courses. Hyderabad branch of IIMM is one of the most agile and active branches. The branch has always been in the forefront in activities relating to education, training, professional development and consultancy in the field of materials management, supply chain management (SCM), procurement, and logistics. The Hyderabad branch regularly conducts webinars, seminars, workshops, fraternity get-together meets where lectures and presentations are arranged on topics of contemporary importance in materials management, logistics, supply chain, and other related topics of advanced technology and latest developments for updating the knowledge of our members. These webinars and meets enable our member professionals to interact and network with each other. Such events benefit both the professional and the industry. The Hyderabad branch had a glorious past of hosting national conventions, NATCOMs. One in the year 1999 and the other in 2016. These two NATCOMs brought huge name and fame to the branch throughout India in the profession. The branch earned many such honors and laurels for years of professional hard work and inherently futuristic in its outlook. The institute has its Center for Advanced Management Studies at Mumbai and Center for Research in Materials Management (CRIMM) at Kolkata, which are engaged to promote research in materials management and also collaborate with industry for furthering the professional advancement of materials management and its applications.
Indian Institute of Materials Management (IIMM) publishes monthly magazine, Materials Management Review (MMR), which provides high-quality articles, literature, regular coverage of columns and special issues dedicated to emerging themes in a wide range of topics concerned about supply chain management, sourcing, procurement, logistics, warehousing, inventory and stores, national and global news, opinions, features and many more. The magazine maintains the highest level of ethical and professional integrity and ensuring consistency in delivery for decades together. Every year Indian Institute of Materials Management celebrates Materials Management Day on the 23rd of April. The significance of this is on this day the Indian Institute of Materials Management was formed as All India body in 1975 with merger of following 3 professional associations. The National Association of Materials Management, which until 1966 was known as National Association of Purchasing Executives, the Materials Management Association of India, earlier known as Purchasing Officers Association, and the Material Management Association of Hyderabad. The merged body was called Indian Association of Material Management (IIMM), which was later changed to Indian Institute of Material Management (IIMM). The merger gave birth to an institution that in its current form is the only professionally recognized body for material management in India.
Coming together is beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. Come, let's collaborate for progress and success.
Okay. I request all of you to please mute, because many people have some background noise is coming. For everybody's advantage, I request all of you to mute. Why I have not muted to all of you? Because we want to make the session more interactive. To get most of the advantage of the session, I request all of you to mute it. So this is about the branch related Hyderabad branch and IIMM we are talking about. We have conducted recently many programs. Of course, in February, for example, last month, we have conducted reframing just-in-time supply chain post-COVID. So this is one program we have conducted, and followed by other programs also in the previous months we have conducted. And this is a student program actually, but many professionals are joined. So very successfully we have done this program on 10th of January on the public procurement. Many of the public procurement related professionals have been joined in this program. And then we have conducted on the world-class manufacturing and also supply chain management, again taken by the Kuldeep Rai sir on the 9th January. Then other program we have taken in operations management and inventory management. And this session is taken by Dr. YVS Prasad Rao Garu. Then again, we have done the program on the strategic management research methodology by again Kuldeep Rai sir on 8th January. And then packaging and distribution and management by AVN Naidu Garu. We have done this program on 2nd January. And many others programs like that, supply chain risk and resilience management. Mr. Ashish has conducted this, taken this program. Mr. Ashish is from IIT Kharagpur. Excellently covered the risk related audit provisions also we have covered in the supply chain. And then case study based immersed workshop on agripreneurship. This is something different from our routine and regular programs, because a lot of logistics related and many of the challenges are there in the agriculture. So we thought agriculture also one of the area we had to untapped potential is there, like, and why not you call this take this program. So we have taken this program on the agripreneurship based on the case studies. Chartered accountant Rishabh has covered this topic. Like this, we covered many of the programs. So in coming month also, we are covering one more program on the again supply chain risk resilience management. That is the central theme of the program. That is on our MM day. 23rd April is our MM day, materials management day. So we want to make it grand success. This will be physical program. So for the quite long time, almost like 2 years and 2 years plus, physical programs are very restrictively be done. Even we are not able to meet our relations and other thing, also our friends and their marriages or functions we are not able to meet. But this program, because now we are a little bit relaxed, some restrictions have come down. So therefore we thought we can make this a physical program. So everybody has the opportunity to get together. Okay. So with this, I want in the new next program also we will announce shortly. So we request all of you to join for the program also. With this short I will now stop this and I will ask our hello. Please everybody mute it. I will now ask our chairman sir, Janardhan Rao Garu, you are there? Janardhan Rao Garu. Hello. Janardhan Rao Garu, you are there?
I am here, sir.
Yeah, please address this 2 words and then we can hand over to the Mr. Kamal Jain.
Hi, Good evening, all of you, senior members and speaker professionals. It's an excellent opportunity to learn everyone only on this platform only. It's a IIM platforms. So this is the good opportunity to learn and enhance our knowledge and interact each other as a professionals and making our networking also. Thank you very much. Please over to that Kamal Jain ji. Please, sir. Thank you.
So before that, our VP South, our Swayambhu sir.
Yes, sir. Sorry for that one, sir. Swayambhu sir. Yes.
Pardon?
Anyway, thank you very much.
Sir, Swayambhu sir, please just say a few words, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the invitation, and I'm really pleased to be part of today's webinar. IIMM Hyderabad is really doing a wonderful job in decimating this supply chain subjects to many people, both from industry as well as from academics. All the best to IIMM Hyderabad for more such programs which will only improve the supply chain fraternity's knowledge and their performance in the supply chain profession will definitely be improved as we move along. So let us hear from Mr. Kamal Jain about the contemporary practices that is being carried out in the industry, and it will definitely benefit all about 40 odd members of that today. And I really congratulate IIMM Hyderabad to invited Mr. Kamal Jain for today's presentation. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I will now request our Lal Bhai Patel, sir. He is a very respectable person, long decades together associated with the institute. Sir, Lal Bhai, sir, with your blessings, please speak few words.
Good evening, everybody. I am really very much attached with Hyderabad branch. This is a wonderful branch. Everybody is working. You are listening to me. I hope everybody is listening.
Sir. Yes, sir. Everybody is listening.
So
yes, you are
it is. I always, whenever you keep any program, I never miss that, and I really enjoyed. I know everybody there. I don't want to speak each and much time, but very vibrant branch, doing well for every respect, in all respect. And today's topic, I'm really very much interested. That's why I'm going to sit and listen the entire program. Mr. Kamal Jain is going to be there. So once again, thank you for sending the invitations and all. And I wish all the success to IIMM Hyderabad branch. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Sir, thank you, sir. Without spending without spending much time, now I'll hand over to Kamalji. Kamalji, you can show your PPT also so that you can start this session. You can make your self-introduction. You make your self-introduction also so that you can start this.
I'll do that.
Yeah, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Panigrahi sir, Swayambhuji, Lalbhaiji, and Janardhan sir for giving opportunity to me to express my views about the latest challenges and the required to be done to avoid such obstacles and to have a proper logistics planning. And I really congratulate IIM Hyderabad and IIM itself for creating this wonderful platform for providing knowledge sharing, excellence to the professional as well as the students. And I'm confident by such type of program, we can overcome many of the obstacles which are coming on our way. And by collaborating with each other, we can do better. And as a part of our today's presentation, we'll discuss about challenges in the supply chain. And specifically, we will be discussing about the challenges which come at the fag end. Normally, which we ignore, we plan for everything, but at the fag end, which is known as the custom clearance, border clearance, whatever name you do, the last mile delivery get affected, which impact the total turnaround time of the entire supply chain. We do a lot of negotiations, we do a lot of selection in terms of the freight and other related activities, service provider best of the line, but we ignore certain minor aspect of the deliveries. And we are going to discuss about those things. We'll start with the certain basics and what we normally ignore and what is required from an importer exporter perspective that we are going to discuss about this. And my request to all the participants to participate in the discussion and ask the question as and when you feel. It's not necessary to wait for the end, because sometimes you lose momentum, sometimes you lose the question itself and it get answered. You keep asking. You can ask verbally, you can ask on the chat box also, whichever mode you feel okay, because this is your program and you have to get best out of this particular session. Hope I am audible and clear to all of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So in the today's webinar, primarily we will discuss about difficulties in the border clearance, logistical challenges, how to see the policy related aspect, where to see, and how much information available online is relevant to us, ways to reduce transportation and logistics cost. Though you are aware there is a container imbalance, the price is high for the shipping cost, space is not available, the prices have doubled, but still a lot of things can be done by an effort.
ఇంకోటి పంపించండి, మీకు ఎప్పుడు చేసి పంపించండి. చూడండి, లేటెస్ట్ ఒక ఈమెయిల్ వచ్చి ఉంటుంది. ఈమెయిల్ చూడండి.
Am I clear, sir?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we will discuss about certain government initiative which is involved in the efficient custom clearance. The new Carotar rule has impacted custom clearance when you are going to take the benefit of the import clearance and the duty exemption. Some of the export promotion scheme like ROTDEP, and how to use the online tools for tracking and the status report, how to select the service provider, what do you expect from the service provider, all these things we will discuss about it. So we'll start with the beginning. When we select a product for import and export, what is expected from our side? And before that, I would like from your side to make me understand, you people are belong to which industry, where people are from pharma industry more or from the logistics industry. If you can, the chat box, you can write it. It will make me easier to discuss about those case studies, those instances more clearly. I'm seeing a lot of names. If you, somebody can express it, the specific area where they belong, import and export, will be helpful to me to discuss about it. That's good. Some are from manufacturing, steel, automotive, logistics, IT, Arbindo Pharma. That's good. Pharma. Good. So when we start or select a product for an import export, can somebody answer what is the first thing we need to see, or what do you see while selecting the product or before ordering to the supplier?
Cost, salability.
Cost.
Ease of importing.
Ease of importing. What else?
Whether goods are freely importable as per Indian tariff.
Exactly. Very good.
IEC
Anything
code,
else?
is it a freely importable or a restricted product, we have to see it.
Exactly, exactly. What else?
So quality of the product, is it really worth importing?
True, very good.
So nowadays we emphasize whether the product doesn't fall in BIS category
Mhm.
while
Very good.
importing, because BIS is very confusing. It doesn't have particular HS code,
Mhm.
and for that we have to first technically verify whether the product which we are importing doesn't fall under the BIS list.
Correct, correct. So my advice to everybody is, you people are almost right. First thing you need to see is about the policy part, whether the item is allowed to be imported or not. Because whatever the cost is there, whatever the quality is there, whatever is the compliance requirement that product possesses, if policy says it is a restricted, not allowed, free, or prohibited, your all effort will go waste. So as per Indian trade classification and harmonized system, the government, the DGFT, the policy maker have classified the item under 3 categories: free, restricted, and prohibited. This all of us are aware about it. And we must see in the DGFT website, they have provision to see ITC based item wise whether the item is free, restricted, and prohibited. But practically, there are 2 challenges we face when we go to such type of sites. One is, we may not be aware about the right classification of the product, because most of the time we tend to go toward a classification if item is classified under 2 or 3 places where the duty is lesser or the item is free. We try to go by the convenience, and that lead to the challenges. The first thing which we need to do is properly classify your item so that when you see the policy, you will get the right answer for the policy. Improper classification leads to delay and disputes. We will discuss about that and how to resolve about it. But again, the one of the weakness with the DGFT website, when we go to see the free, restricted, and prohibited, you will find many of the items in chapter 29 to 38 are free. Specifically mentioned chapter 29 to 38 is because most of the pharma and chemical products are classified under these chapters. The free does not mean free of duty. Free does not mean nothing else is required. Here, if it is free, that is freely allowed to be imported. But again, the required licenses, the required compliances with respect to the drug or chemicals are very much required. So my suggestion is, whenever you are importing a chemical or a pharmaceutical product, apart from the policy, look out to the requirement of the CDSO also. That is the participating government agency. Here, the important aspect is, whenever an item is to be imported or exported or produced or originated in India, any law applicable on that will equally be applicable on the imported material. Hence, you are required to see the other law which are timing in force. You will find many of the items in the internet which are lucrative, which has got a high value, which has got a high margin, but those are prohibited or restricted for the export purpose. Here, important aspect to consider is, even an attempt to export a prohibited item is a crime. When I say attempt, it means even if you file the document commonly known as a shipping bill for a prohibited item, is sufficient for a customs department to book a case against you. It is not necessary that it is actually exported or the material is brought to the customs for the purpose of export. a attempt to export is also sufficient. Second important aspect is, do not be an impression that prohibited items are only high value item, or these are the items which you commonly known are can be prohibited or restricted. It can be a simple item like a charcoal also. Have you heard about a charcoal? Hope everybody knows about the charcoal. It has got lot of demand in the overseas for the purpose of barbecue. But this item is prohibited. And the cost of this item is equal to the cost of the freight to any of the destination, around 2-3 lakhs rupees per container. But this item is prohibited, and attempt to export or attempt to file the document itself is a crime. Similarly, do not be under impression that any item which is restricted or prohibited for import will applicable to the export or vice versa. Mostly it is correct, but this should be avoided. This type of presumption should be avoided, because there is a separate policy for import and export. I'll give you an example from my experience. One of the importer, my client, imported infrared camera, and they were under impression that after installation of some software, some activity, they will export it and get the order for that. But after importation, the item was not allowed to be exported because the item falls under SCOMET category, and it has got a dual use, and it is used also in the defense. So it requires a license from the DGFT. Am I audible?
Clearly audible, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hope I'm making sense. Second aspect of the policy is, the policy does not figure out all the requirement of participating government agencies. When I say participating government agency, means the agencies which has control or have legislature applicable to the import or exported item. For example, if we import any item which has got a lactogen in it or some dairy item in it, automatically the animal quarantine department involved come into the place, because the dairy product import and other related things also come under the purview of the animal quarantine. Here we need to understand important aspect. See, import and export of an item are governed by many other law in India, which are time being in force, and those laws are applicable on products and which are produced, originated, or brought into India. So those laws will automatically applicable to those items, and it is the responsibility of the customs department to enforce all such laws, and you are expected as an importer and exporter to comply with them. Now, question arises where to see all this information. These are the 4 important online sites where you get information about policy, compulsory compliance requirement of that product, and related information of import export. But still, it is not sufficient. One of the gentlemen said, we do not want to import any item which has got a BIS. Yes, BIS is challenging requirement, but we need to understand one important aspect is, if your requirement of that product for a further production, or your business is dependent on that product, you need to import that item, comply with the BIS, get the BIS certification for that particular product. You can't manage it, you can't ignore that requirement. Any questions you would like to ask? So far we have covered as a policy part. Any questions, gentlemen? You can write in the chat also if you find it difficult to speak. Anyway, I'll go forward. Now, question arises: why item is restricted, prohibited, or freely? It is not that government can import or export restriction on any of the item just like that. As per the foreign trade policy, they have to indicate the reason for restricting or prohibiting a particular item, and these reasons can be of trade imbalance, or that can be prevention of the morality, that can be protection of human and plant life, conservation of natural resources. I have given one example like charcoal. The very purpose of prohibiting charcoal is to avoid deforestation, basically conservation of our natural resources. So whenever we look toward the policy, we need to have a viewpoint also why a particular item can be restricted or can be prohibited or can be free. Another important practical aspect about the policy is not permanent in nature. Restricted item can be prohibited, prohibited item can be restricted and converted into free. One of the common example is N95 mask. In the last 2 years, the policy related to the N95 mask has changed 3-4 times. The moment COVID started, the government of India prohibited export of N95. Later on, it has relaxed norms related to mask to an extent. Further, it has relaxed from prohibited to restricted to free. So policy is not permanent in nature. If you see in the January and planning to import in the May, you have to plan at the time of importation. Only relaxation it provides if the shipment is already moved from foreign origin, and in case you have an irrevocable letter of credit, in that case the item will be allowed for the clearance, unless otherwise it has a very negative impact on the country's economy or any law which is time being enforced. They will allow import of such item which is already started. So these are the 4 areas which you need to look into it when you import or export item. Foreign trade policy, as we discussed. The second thing is the compulsory compliance requirement of that product. And this we can get it on the ISGate site known as Indian Trade Portal. By putting the right Hsn code, we get the compulsory compliance requirement, but it is more a general in nature for an entire chapter or for subheading. A specific requirement can only be obtained by going through the particular site of that particular item. If it is item is electronic, you have to go to the MEITY site, MEITY, and you will find some of the additional registrations are required. One of the example is like telecom product. Telecom products are required to go through a mandatory registration from February 1st. And they have listed certain items which require a mandatory registration. Without that, you can't import. It is something like a BIS certification, but you need to register yourself. Similarly, if it is a chemical item or a pharmaceutical product, you need to visit CDSO site, understand what is the requirement. Like if you are importing a medical equipment, you need to go through the registration of medical equipment, and which is relaxed for some time. But again, when it is applicable, you need to do the registration. So that comes under the PGA, known as participating government agencies and subsequent site. The most important thing is avoid assumption, presumption, and self-interpretation. For example, if you are planning to import something or export something, do not presume your neighbor has done it or he could do it. You will all be able to do it. One of the example is, for example, you find some laptop with your neighbor and during the inquiry you find they have imported this item or brought with himself, you will be under presumption or assumption that this item is allowed to be imported. But the moment you order a commercial quantity, you will find the customer will demand a BIS certification on the laptop, and you will not be able to give it. And don't be in impression, all Dell, all Lenovo, all Acer, all Apple laptop are already under BIS. Not all models have a BIS certification. Some may have, some may not have. So in such case, supplier himself will not be able to help you out. Normally, when you order, they help you out with the BIS certification if they have already obtained. But unless you demand, they will not be able to do it. And avoid self-interpretation that an item is allowed to be imported, can be exported also. This also we discuss in case of an infrared camera. So that also requires certain expert advice. Now, what is to be done if a lot of challenges in terms of interpretation comes in? You need to take an expert advice. The people who are into the trade, the people who are already advising some other customer. It can be a clearing agent, it can be a trade compliance expert, it can be a standalone consultant, it can be a freight forwarder. Anybody who's into the trade, holding knowledge about the product, he can be helpful to you in interpretation and understanding your product better. So avoid assumption and presumption. Any questions on so far we have covered?
No, it's fine.
Thank you. Now let us understand how the custom clearance takes place. We'll go through some of the basic, then we'll go what are the challenges comes when we do the custom clearance and the possible solutions. Custom clearance is a process. Any item which is imported into India has to pass through a process of a custom clearance, and without that, delivery is not possible. And this custom clearance process is done at the custom house, and the officer who are involved in the process are known as a custom officer. And customs department is one of the department under the Ministry of Finance, under the Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs. And the law which is applicable for the custom clearance is Customs Act 1962, and custom clearance involves preparation, submission of document online. Now understand one thing, presently the custom clearance activity is happening online. Your physical presence is required only at the time of examination, and before that you can file the document from any part of the world through internet. The custom started its journey of electronic from the year 98-99, and by the time in 2010 and 2011 they have started filing of document remotely. That is, from the internet, from your office, from any part of the world, you can file the document and complete at least 60-70% of the custom clearance activity. The custom clearance happens in the custom station, and for a offline station like Hyderabad, we have inland container depot. Inland container depots are those locations which are in the places where there is no port facility, but custom provide a area where the custom clearance can take place. And the primary objective of this ICD and CFS is to avoid the congestion at the port and providing a facilities to the importer and exporter to their nearest station, so that they can represent to the customs, see the logistics activity itself, and create the difference, reduce the cost. Now here, important aspect which leads to the delay and interpretational disputes when we do go for a custom clearance, both in case of import and export. When we do the custom clearance, we require certain documentation. Depending upon the item, depending upon the type of transaction, document increased. But as per the policy, the para 2.06, only 3 documents are mandatory for the custom clearance. But the question arises, why have we mentioned all this document? 3 documents are the basic mandatory document. These are your transport document, bill of lading, airway bill, and invoice packing list. In case of import, it is bill of entry. In case of export, it is shipping bill. Custom cannot demand more document than this unless otherwise your product requires that type of documentation. In case you go for a duty exemption, you may have to submit duty exemption certificate. In case your product requires certain clarification with respect to the classification and valuation of that item, in those cases, they can demand technical write-up, catalog, or in case the product require a license and certification like BIS or animal quarantine certificate, plant quarantine release, or from the CDSO form 10, form 20, form 25, depending upon the transaction, they can demand. Some of the requirements are one-time requirement. Here, important aspect, the practical aspect to be noted is you need to do certain basic registration with the customs, commonly known as ICE gate registration, your AD code registration, your legal undertaking with the GST department, so that the document can incorporate those GST number and you will be able to claim the GST input tax credit. And one of the important document is NOC from PGA. As we discussed, the product, if a product demand clearance from a participating government agencies, in that case, you require to submit that document also. And licenses in case of item is restricted. The document required for the export and import is more or less same. In case of export, the lesser requirement, invoice packing list and airway bill, and again the product related documentation. And we'll discuss how the additional documents are demanded and how you have to represent to the customs department to save time. A schematic diagram how the process takes place in the customs area, but we'll go further. Now comes to the SCM disruptions, which create a problem and delays in your entire supply chain. The first one is common, the material availability. If material is not available, we can't do the logistics of that item. So material availability is one of the important aspects. You need to find out the supplier, your shipper, or the people who are selling that item. There has to be a continuous research. There has to be a continuous effort of creating an option if the item is not available in a particular country, how to find out where it is applicable and where the logistics can happen easily. Second is the shipping related issues. Shipping related issues like higher the freight cost, space related, the booking related, require an effort in terms of selection of right service provider. You need to have a service provider who has got a good access to the shipping line and airlines and other mode of transportation, so that he can do the various permutation and combination for getting the space. Nowadays, most of the space is allotted online, but I have come across with many situations where you book the space, later on at the time of vessel operation or at the time of actual movement of vessel, it gets cancelled. These type of challenges everybody is facing. You need to find out a way with the help of your service provider how to ensure that booking whatever is done, you get the space and sailings take place. I've come across with a situation where the sailing did happen on time with all efforts, but it has gone to one of the transit station, again took 2 months from that location to the final delivery position. We all have come across with many such situations where the supply chain and shipping disruption took place, but things have moved on. We are now in better situation than last 2 years. Shipping is happening and we are getting the spaces and it has eased out much. Third is the clearance related issues. Clearance related issues will take up later and understand. Then transport availability, and the last one, port strike, labor and other related challenges. These are the common problems we face when we go for the custom clearance, whether it is an import or whether it is an export. You can mention any other problem if you are facing. I have listed down some of the common problems which we find in the custom house. The first one is the classification dispute. You have filed the document, you are expecting your shipment to be cleared, you know the rate of duty on that particular item, but there is a dispute raised by the custom officer that this goes to the some other classification and has a higher rate of duty. This is very frustrating situation for an importer who has done the homework or their cost of production based on the lesser rate of duty. Option available to the importer is to do the litigation, to go for appeals, to go for challenging the classification of customs officer by doing the provisional clearances. My suggestion is do not waste your time in explaining the customs if it is extending more than 2-3 days. Go for a provisional assessment so that you get your material fast, you go into the production or the selling of the things, and litigation can happen in the background. Because classification dispute, if it is raised by an appraiser level or an assistant commissioner level, they will have their own reason to not to accept your classification. And in some of the reason they are right, in some of the reason, some of the occasions you are right. But the best method is to go for the provisional assessment, and if they demand, you can give the bank guarantee for the differential amount. But in case you are a authorized economic operator or importer or exporter with a good track record, they may waive this requirement or reduce the security requirement to an extent. But this classification dispute keep on happening, and if you want a permanent solution for that, and you are starting your business and you feel the classification can be a game changer for you, or few 2.5% duty or a 5% duty can create a lot for you, I suggest you go for a advance ruling. Some of our customers have also approached for the advance ruling because they find it difficult to explain to the custom officer every time. I have a customers who get such similar type of query of every 2-3 years, because custom officer to whom they explained the matter got transferred in 2-3 years, and further the new officer raised the same query and their consignment get impacted and delayed. So better is to go for an advance ruling if you feel you are on the right side or you feel your classification is right. Second part is the valuation disputes. In case of import, quite often custom officer raises a query that value is not up to the mark, and you feel your value is intact. And this has started happening in the case of exports also. So be aware about the valuation rules, what consists of a value. If somebody sends you a free of cost, that does not mean that will be the value will be accepted by the customs department. the goods which are transferred on loan basis, the goods which are transferred on exchange of certain schemes will have a lesser value, cannot be accepted by the customs department. As per the customs, the value of the product has to be the transaction value, and the value which is normal in nature to, or which is sold to a normal person without any relationship, a normal value to be considered for the purpose of duties and taxes. So whenever valuation dispute comes, you be clear about your documentation. If you are importing from an original equipment manufacturer, try to provide your substantiate your claim with the help of OEM invoices and other supporting documents. In case you have a relationship with the seller, go for special valuation branch filing, SVB registration, and further activities. Do not try to hide the relationship, or do not try to hide the reasons of receiving the lesser value of the product. One gentleman has asked, can you explain what is required for a solar PV module during the custom clearance? If it is a case of import, solar PV module require a normal documentation, nothing additional is required if you are a manufacturer, and if you are importing components, and there is a duty exemption available on this particular item, but we'll have a look into what you are trying to import. And in case of solar PV module, if modules are imported, it involves a BIS certification also. But if a component are involved for further manufacturing, no further, you can have your own BIS for further supply. And duties, and in terms of the duties and taxes, we have a basic custom duty, IGST, and Swachh Bharat tax, that is known as SVS surcharge. And IGST duty is the duty which you pay, tax which you pay. You can take the input tax credit, but for the BCD, you can't take the input tax credit. I hope I have answered your question, gentlemen. Third area which created delay is about demand of an additional document. Am I audible? Somebody can confirm?
Yes.
Yeah.
Clearly audible.
Yeah. Demand of additional document is quite frustrating for an importer and exporter. In case of exports, there are options available. There are provisions which says, or internal circular in the customs, that exports should not be stopped because of documentation and clarification. Unless that clarification and document will restrict the item for the further export, the export product cannot be stopped because it is a country's priority. So whenever you find it difficult, or you are in the fag end of a week like Friday or Saturday, next day is the holiday, and custom officer is demanding a document which you find it difficult to produce or need some more time, you can always say, sir, let the export go on. We will provide the document and give an undertaking for that. And in case of an import, a prior planning is needed. In case of import, a prior planning is needed, because at the time of import, if they start asking the document and you start giving the document, it will take a lot of time, and there will be a cost pressure on you in terms of detention and demurrage. If it is an air cargo, the demurrage will be much higher, and in case of a sea cargo, the detention will be on the container as well as on the ground rent also. So best method is to forecast what more document can be asked on of a particular import and keep those documents ready. And nowadays, customs department provide you a facility to upload the document. It is not necessary to keep in the file. You can upload those documents via method known as e-sanchit, and your clearing agent or a service provider can help you in that. And these uploaded documents are visible to the custom officer on their screen. So even if those documents are not demanded, you can upload it and explain whenever such type of query is given, and that will save a lot of time. Another reason for the delay is the demand of original documents. Nowadays, custom has dispensed with the requirement of original document unless on some few cases of the license and wherever you are claiming free trade agreement benefit. In that case, only original documents are required. Otherwise, in every cases, only the uploaded scanned documents are sufficient. Any questions so far on the documentation side or the classification dispute, valuation dispute? Can I go ahead?
So Kamal Jain, one question is raised in the chat box. You can see a little bit to go above your answer for the solar PV. Above that, there is one question is there. Please try to answer.
Okay. One product port of discharge in C mode, one transit point, and from there it will move either by air or by road. Which is the port of discharge in such case? One product port of discharge in C mode. You're talking about import transaction or export transaction?
Export transactions.
Export transaction, and you are moving through multimodal mode. Say, for example, Hyderabad to Dubai by sea and Dubai to USA or Hamburg or Germany by air. Is that the situation?
Exactly.
The port of discharge will be the first port of discharge. It can be an airport or it can be a seaport, or it can be ICD also.
Is it documents we should provide port of discharge is a first port of discharge or a
first port
final?
of discharge? First port of discharge, but we need to understand the purpose of that document. What is that document and impact of that document in the further transaction? Yeah. The overseas player is interested to know the seaport or the port of the origin from where the goods are moved. The purpose of information is also important.
Yes.
What is their why do they want to know it? Say, for example, if your goods are moving from Hyderabad to Chennai to Dubai, if they want to know the origin port, it will be Hyderabad. But if they want to know the seaport of discharge, it will be Chennai. Depending upon the situation, information can be furnished, but primarily it is a port of discharge will be ICD Hyderabad or Air Cargo Hyderabad.
Okay, sir.
So one gentleman asked, original document needed when original documents are needed in case of free trade agreement and specific licenses. For example, I have certain clients who import arms and ammunition for shooting purpose, for a sports purpose, and Ministry of Home Affairs and Rifle Association issues certain licenses to import that. In those cases, import license is required and certain endorsement are done on that. But for a normal import export, original documents are not needed. Am I clear, Rajesh Raoji?
Yes, sir. Very clear. Thank you so much.
Now, another challenge which people are facing is the faceless assessment. The primary objective of the faceless assessment is to ease of doing business, but it is creating more challenges. These are the practical aspects. For example, Hyderabad, Bangalore, and Chennai imports a lot of IT equipment, and the custom official in these locations understand very well what can be imported, what cannot be imported, and how does IT equipment look alike, and how their documentation are. If under the faceless assessment, it goes to the Jaipur, Kota, Rajasthan, or a location where such type of imports are never done or rarely done. The knowledge of those appraiser about those equipments are lesser. They keep on giving the queries. One, this challenge. Second is under the faceless, sometimes appraiser at those locations do not understand the priority. In case of port assessment, where you are filing the document and assessment is happening on the same station, you can always meet in physical and explain them that this is required very much for the further production or some requirement of your project, and they understand. So by avoiding the physical interaction, some challenges has created, but we are hopeful in future when the customs department get accustomed to the requirement, attuned to the requirement, this faceless assessment will help us and seamless clearance will happen. Then one of the things which impact the clearance is the weight mismatch. In case of import, the weighing is not common. Your shipment will not be weighed unless otherwise they find it something suspicious or some challenges with respect to the packaging, or it is opened up or wet in condition. In those cases, they do the weighment. And if they find there is a weight mismatch, there is a challenge of the clearance. And in case of export, they will not allow to board the cargo if there is a weight mismatch with the airway bill which you have declared and actual weight. So it is advised to the exporter, a regular exporter, to keep track of the weight. Otherwise, I have come across with a situation on Saturday night or Friday night when your shipment is about to go, all custom clearance formalities are completed. Suddenly, custodian or the airline stops the consignment. Some of the deliveries are not very time bound. Some of the deliveries are very much time bound, and it impacts your final delivery and impact the business also. So weight thing has to be considered while exporting, and it is advisable to have weighing balance or some mechanism to weigh the package properly. Similarly, seal mismatch in case of the sea transaction is a frustrating challenge because it requires a confirmation from the port of origin which seal is actually affixed. If there is a mismatch or if there is a disparity, they require a clarification from the port of origin. The only challenge which we find in the electronic age, though everything moves around the internet or the email, is the time difference. Any clarification which you need from overseas has to be in time, the same time when you are demanding. But if it is an adverse time zone situation like US and Europe, automatically you lose out 1 or 2 days. And when it is happening on the weekend, you lose out 2-3 days. So the best method is approach faster. And whenever it is surfaced, you need to approach a service provider or a shipping line or overseas counterpart. Server slowdown is one of the challenge which we faced, but now the occurrence of server slowdown has reduced, and customs department is putting all their efforts to have the speed online. And whenever there is a server slowdown, they intimate to the importer and exporter, and they acknowledge it, there is a server slowdown, and the officer do cooperate. But in none of the cases they allow manual pass out or manual out of charge. So that is one of the area which sometime happens and lead to the delay. Some of the challenges we face in terms of the special economic zone exports and imports, when the NSDL and EDI systems do not talk to each other in the same fashion, and the information is not available online, and some duplicate entries take place. But those are the challenges once in 1,000, and with the help of NSDL, EDI, and proper raising a ticket to them, is resolving such type of issues. One of the gentlemen asked, in which cases considered volumetric as well as numbers? See, understand one thing, in the cargo industry, whether it is a domestic or international, whether it's an air cargo or a sea cargo, the clear formula is the weight will be considered as a gross weight or volumetric weight, whichever is higher. And this goes across board in the cargo industry. If volumetric weight is higher, it will be considered. And for calculating the volumetric weight, 6,000 centimeter cube is considered as 1 kg. So you can calculate yourself whether your cargo is under the volumetric weight, because calculation of the freight will take place on the volumetric weight or a gross weight, whichever is higher.
Sorry, sir. Can you explain how that factor arrives 6,000?
That is a standard. That's a standard. 6,000 centimeter cube is treated as a 1 kg.
Okay.
So based on your dimension, you arrive at the volume, and from that volume you calculate divided by 6,000. You get your volume weight, and you know your gross weight with the help of weighing balance, and whichever is higher is considered for the purpose of freight calculation.
Okay.
And in some of the
in that there is no calculation to arrive that 6,000.
No calculation, it's a standard, something like that, length into breadth into height.
Yes, I know that.
It's 6,000 centimeters.
Yes.
So now the interesting question, whether they allow late fee filing fees waiver in case of server down. In general, answer is no, because server down happens for some time, and if it happens at 11:30 in the night and your bill of entry attract the penalty after 12 o'clock, and you start filing at 11:25 or 11:30 and server is slow, you end up in paying the penalty. This can be established if it is a continuously server down. In those cases, you can represent to the customs with the screenshot. Your service provider who is attempting to file a bill of entry can approach the customs with a screenshot that this is an attempt for last 12 hours or 6 hours and server is slow. We need to understand why custom is strict on this particular part. One is reason is they allow you 30 days in advance to file the bill of entry. Before arrival of a 30 days, you can file the bill of entry and you have ample amount of time. I understand in case of air cargo, it is difficult to file the bill of entry when the shipment is coming from Singapore, because in the 6 hours shipment comes, you get the document 8 hours before, and by the time you attempt or file the bill of entry, the cargo has arrived. So they have given you the opportunity to file on the same day. But as far as the waiver of filing of penalty, I've seen the customs department approach is a little stricter, and it is not easy to get the waiver. In fact, the penalty on the late filing of the bill of entry is highest in comparison to any other tax matter. In other tax matter, you will find 100 rupees per day, 200 rupees per day, and here you will find 5,000 rupees per day, 10,000 rupees per day, which is high in nature, and industry should represent to the CBIC that this has to be reduced. And by representation, they have reduced to minimum, the maximum of 50,000, where there is no duty is involved, or equivalent to the duty highest penalty. Suppose your duty is 1 lakh, in that case, the highest penalty can be 1 lakh. Just a minute. Just I need 30 seconds to put the power.
Yeah. Okay, friends, good evening. Of course, we are all listening very patiently for more than 1 hour. Kamal Jain has come back again. Mr. Kamal Jain.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Kamal Jain, can we take a small break? Because we are listening for almost more than an hour. Now we make a small break because another 1 hour we have to stay here. So we may take a small 10 minutes break, then we'll come back. Then again we'll continue. And when we come back, I want all the, because almost like 38 members or 39 members are there. So all let us take a small group photo, then we'll proceed. Okay. Kamal Jain sir, it
Sure,
is
sir,
okay?
sure.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we'll take
Yeah, it's
10
okay.
minutes break. So everybody has a relaxed little bit. Then we'll again start the session. Thank you, sir. I request all of you, please open your video. Start with your video. On the left hand side bottom, please come forward. Yeah. Please let us do it fast without too much spending time. So Manipur Manjunath Singh, if you take your mask, because I believe you are in a house only. Okay, good, good, good. Your face is good, a smiley face. Good, sir, good, sir, good. And others also, if you come forward and let us take faster. Sivayogi ji, of course, last time also you have participated, very nice. And we are seeing you again, once again. Sivayogi ji, can you come? And our Swami Azul Garu. Swami Azul Garu. Yes, sir, yes, sir. You come back. Okay, good. And Purushottam ji, or in fact, our Guru, like Purushottam ji, very frequently I am getting interacted. He is giving lot of advice how to move forward and develop the institute image and developing various programs. So, Purushottam ji, sir, namaskar, sir. Purushottam ji. And of course, from Bangalore, I'm seeing Balasubramanian sir. Sir, Balasubramanian sir, he is my guru. In fact, advising me in many of the aspects. Sir, Balasubramanian sir. Balasubramanian sir. Okay, maybe they're taken some way. Balasubramanian sir.
Tell me.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. You're like really our guru, sir. Advising
like that. Don't tell me that.
On many of the aspects, we are very frequently discussing with you, and
No,
you are advising also. You are advising also how to go forward and nothing.
It's absolute my pleasure. Don't worry.
All with your blessings, we are going forward, sir.
In fact, you are doing a wonderful job. Frankly.
Thanks, sir. Thanks, sir. Sir, can we take your so you open the video, sir? We take the photo.
Yeah, no problem. Yes.
Yeah, please, sir, please. And Purushottam sir also, of course, he is like my guide in many aspects here advising me. Purushottam sir. Purushottam ji. Of course, I'm not able to see him. So Anthony sir, of course, we have interacted many times. Anthony also advised me on one of the subject on the project procurement. I have made small video on that. He has given a lot of advice also how to go forward. I'm very thankful to him taking his inputs. And Viswanathan sir, yes sir, I'm seeing here very frequently. Every hour our program, of course, Viswanathan sir from Bangalore, he's our guest. Like every program, he is coming to our programs. So very thankful to you, sir. Seeing you all. Swayam sir.
Yes, sir.
He's our VP South.
Yeah.
And very nice that always we are also interacting.
Yes, sir.
And you are taking all the inputs and advising also many of the aspects.
Yeah.
So thank you, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
So I'm taking this short. So whoever there, please be there and taking that. Yes, sir. And of course, we can't wait for further because the subject is going very well, very interestingly. And many of the questions have been answered. These are practical session. It's not like theory somewhere we can get and we can read and books and other things. But these are practical because he's from the practical logistics field. Right. Customs day and night he is involved in this. So that is why we call the such a practical exposed people so that he can clear most of our doubts and other things. So I'm again handing over to Mr. Kamal Jain sir. And Kamal Jain ji, you can take the session. And also Kamal Jain's company Cargomen has sponsored this program. So you can introduce a little bit about your organization and then we can forward. We go forward. Sir.
Sure. Cargomen, our company is a logistics company and we have pan-India presence in 8 locations in India and 1 overseas location, Singapore. We provide services like custom clearance, freight forwarding, transportation, and advisory related to the trade compliances. Any importer and exporter desirous of taking duty exemptions from DGFT, from the customs, we help them in their trade compliance activity. We are people with a strength of 400 people, a lot of experts in customs, freight matters, and trade compliances. Our company has expertise in 100% EOU, special economic zone, pharma export, imports, chemical imports and exports, exhibition cargo, and various other imports and exports matter. Wherever it involves interpretation, it involves certification, we help our customers. So this is all about our company. And the session which we started on behalf of Indian Institute of Material Management, this is a beginning. In 2 hours, we cannot expect the expertise of the subject, but we can know where to reach to get the more information. Like Panigrahi sir is one of the source of inspiration for me, and I get information from him whenever there is an interpretation dispute. Similarly, you people can come to us and our people can help you out in going further activities. And this is an initiative to connect industry with the people who need services, who need the expertise related to the supply chain, logistics, freight, and custom clearance. With my experience of 20 years, I realized even the smaller communication gap, even the smaller minute things which are ignored at the beginning impact later in terms of the huge cost. And one of the practical example, one of the my client imported aircraft, trainer jet for their flying training institute. And after arrival, they gave us the document to file. First, we end up in paying late filing bill of entry charges. Second, detention charges in terms of the clearance, because aircraft require a special clearance. The clearance which could have done in 5-10 days, because of some alert from the DRI side, from the aviation ministry side, took around 1.5 to 2 months, because they needed a lot of clarification. They needed a lot of certification, confirmation. And they end up in paying a lot of money, which is not a productive in terms of demurrage, detention, late filing fees. So it is always advisable to plan your import shipment, to plan your exports. Do not be complacent of your knowledge. Try to be in touch with the people who are into the trade, because around 20-30 agencies involved in import and exports impact the import clearance and export clearance. Now, one gentleman asked about filing of advance B is risky both in air and sea shipment, as there is a risk of IGM amendment. I'll give you an analogy of our life. If you fell down from the cycle, do you stop riding the cycle or learning the cycle? We never do that. We go forward. Yes, IGM amendments and this type of risk do happen, but once in 100, once in 1,000. In order to mitigate risk of 2, 3, 4%, are you going to end up in paying late filing charges on the last day when you are intended to file? Or there is a possibility you intend to file, your service provider could not file the document, some lacuna in the document. So it is always advisable to file advanced documentation or prior bill of entry. Do not wait for the last day, or do not be an impression that IGM amendment may impact the clearance. Yes, it does happen, but do not consider it as an enemy or the reason for not filing. In case of sea shipment, in case of sea shipment, we need to file IGM 24 hours before the arrival of the shipment, and the arrival of the shipment is considered the day of entry inward or filing of IGM. Yes, am I clear on my part?
Yes, sir.
So in case of a sea shipment, you have to file 24 hours before the entry inward and IGM. And mostly entry inward and IGM are same, but in some of the cases, the date has a minor differences.
Sir, but as per our experience in major capital goods like tugs, we import tugs from Japan. And for that, sometimes we have been, IGM is filed very much earlier, means 2-3 days earlier, and actual gate inward is after 2-3 days. So in such cases, what will be considered? Means last date of inward will be considered for late bill of entry filing, or the date of IGM will be considered?
See, that 2-3 day difference happens only in the cases when you are importing at the ICDs. But for the purpose of EDI calculation, the entry inward is considered for the calculation of late filing of bill of entry, because system automatically calculates.
Okay.
System automatically calculates, and surprisingly, if it calculates by mistake, if the calculation is wrong, to rectify that calculation also is a challenge. Because to get the waiver from the fine penalty, you need to go to the additional commissioner level. Assistant commissioner cannot give you the fine penalty waiver. So that is a time consuming thing. Once in a while, it happens with everybody. Consider it as try to reduce it by planning it, filing in more advance, or use other method available online, like ignoring the previous bill of entry, filing. If you're filing the advance bill of entry, you have an opportunity to change also. But if you file after arrival, you can't change. Somebody asked for the SCOMET item. SCOMET are special chemical organism material, equipment and technology which are restricted by the government for the export purpose. And there is a appendix 3A which has a list of such item which is little technical in nature, and you need to identify if your item is falling under that. If it is falling, it has certain criteria, parameters, and on the basis of those parameters, your item is restricted. You need to take the license. Am I clear on the SCOMET part?
Yes, sir, I got. Hello. Yes, sir, I have received your information.
Just a minute. Is screen visible? Slide is visible?
Can
Yes,
you make
but
this
it's not in the
full size?
presentation mode. You can make it.
Please make in the full
Okay.
screen.
Is
Yeah,
it
yeah.
okay?
Yeah. Fine, sir.
Okay. Now we will discuss about some of the methods which can reduce your logistics cost and transport cost. It may all may be applicable to you, or some may be applicable to you, or partially you can use them. It is not that in everywhere it is applicable, all the model. But above all, the most important rule for the supply chain, effective supply chain, cost-effective supply chain is planning. Planning involves alignment with all the agencies of supply chain. When you are importing any item, your freight forwarder, shipping line, shipper, custodian, customs, transporter who is doing the delivery, participating government agencies, all should be aligned. Aligned in the sense you need to have a visibility about them and their role. Like if you are importing, when can you take the delivery? What are the timings? What is possible 24/7, 5 days? What can on the public holiday, whether you can export or not, important shipment can be taken delivery on Sundays or not. If a government claims 24/7, how effective it is, to which shipment it is applicable, and how to take the benefit of 24/7. Because in practical case, if government says 24/7 clearance is possible, and you go to the customs, you find no officer is available. But what we do whenever we have an urgent delivery which demands night clearance or demand an early day clearances or odd hour clearances, we get in touch with the custom officer. Because nowadays, post-COVID, people stopped inhibition about sharing their phone numbers. There are task group created within custom house to help you out. There are people in the customs who have created the groups also to help you out, to have the knowledge about what is possible and what is not possible. So planning is important. Roles and responsibility, timing, connect with all these participating government agencies who are involved in your transaction is important. You are importing, say, chemical product, you need not to be worried about textile promotion council. But yes, if it involves clearance from textile, you need to know their timings, you need to their office, you need to know officers who are involved in that, what transaction demand this type of clearances. Second important thing is the automation of logistics. Many of you people are into the import and export activity. When in terms of the compliances, documentation, clearances, we talk about the automation. We are referring about an application. We are referring about an ERP. We are referring about a computer application, IT solution, which keep your data up to date, depending upon your requirement. Suppose, let us take an example. One of my customers import a lot in private bonded warehouse. And for a clearance of a private bonded warehouse, you need to file the warehouse bill of entry. So every time you need to know which bill of entry has crossed 90 days, which has crossed 6 months, which has crossed 1 year, because these are the milestone for the purpose of duty interest, for the clearances, and for further applying for the renewal of the bond. So you need to have an application, or in case you are filing an ex-bond bill of entry, how much quantity is left out in my particular bond, you need to have a proper application that reduces your effort, you reduces time in terms of planning, in terms of clearances. And that gives you a confidence also how much compliant you are. When we are talking about automation in terms of export and other supply chain and goods movement, we need to automate every aspect, whether it's our loading unloading activity, whether it's a RAM, whether it's a delivery of our product, usage of ball mat, usage of an equipment within our warehouse, within our factory, which consumes time. Nowadays, you have an application who can automatically calculate the dimension of the package. There are applications which helps you in counting of the package. If with the help of AI and ML, if the data is fed into it, you automatically get the information how many drums are loaded, how many drums are unloaded. That reduces dependence on manpower, one in terms of the cost, second in terms of the accuracy. Whenever we are talking about the automation, it is not the manpower or resources which get reduced, because understand one thing, none of these technologies are cheaper. They will be costlier than your manpower, but it provide you better records. You are not dependent on a individual skill set. You are not dependent on individual memories. You are not dependent on their health. It provides better output. So you need to automate your logistics documentation, logistics activities. Somebody asked, SEZ clearance is automatically transmit to customs at port of loading. Yes, it automatically transmit, but issue is in 1 out of 100 cases, it does not reflect, which is a common technological problem. It does not reflect. In those cases, it is difficult to convince a custom officer that our clearance is already done, because in case of SEZ, assessment take place at the SEZ location itself. So this automatic activity does not happen. I'm referring about those cases. Did I understand your question properly?
Sure, exactly.
So these are some of the rare cases which happen. Now, third point is identifying fixed and variable cost. When we import and export, there are certain fixed costs, there are certain variable costs. Duties, taxes are always fixed costs. You know, you can always calculate the percentage of your value, percentage of your item. The freight cost keep on moving. There are other charges like custodian charges, which is fixed in nature. Number of package or number of kgs into X rupees, you can always calculate. So in your entire supply chain, you should have the visibility of fixed and variable cost. This will help you in focusing in terms of negotiation and bargaining in those areas where the cost is variable in nature, and you can plan your shipment accordingly. It is not wise to be after the fixed cost, because ultimately it is not going to fetch you anything. Here one exception. Like custodian charges is considered as fixed cost. Like if you are importing in air cargo Hyderabad, air cargo Delhi, air cargo Mumbai, or air cargo Jaipur, there will be at fixed tariff, you have to pay accordingly. But in case of CFS charges, in case of import and export, you have an opportunity to negotiate with them. In case of Mumbai and Delhi, I have come across with a situation, if you have a higher volume, more than 5 container, 10 container, or 15 container, you can always negotiate CFS charges also with them. And that you need to keep in mind with, in terms of the volume, you need to always play around with them. And freight cost keep on varying. You have to take up the time when it is at the lower end. You need to take the rate from various service provider so that you can know what cost is going into that particular sector, whether you are exporting or importing from China, Europe, or USA. Now, the fourth important thing is team up with other shippers. I've rarely seen this teaming up exercise among the shippers. This is normally done at the consolidation level by the service provider, but I've never seen the shippers are contacting each other and trying to consolidate. But if they start doing this, trust, they will be able to solve a lot of cost. If we take an example of Hyderabad alone, which export a lot of pharma product to CIS and US, when the air freight rate are too high, the bigger pharma company, whether it's Armando, Mylan, Dr. Reddy's, they can team up, can have a common charter plane, and they can reduce the cost a lot. Because when it comes to the service provider like us, who can operate the charter, but we have certain challenges in terms of the advance payment, in terms of running a charter, going to the various shippers and completing the capacity of that aircraft. There we find it difficulty. We go into the routine activities, because ultimately you have to save the money. You need to team up the similar type of shippers for the purpose of logistics. Let me take up the questions. That's very good, Jays. That's a good activity, but need more planning among the shipper. Now, the other thing is outsource part of your supply chain. Gone are the days when people says or company used to think, I'll do myself everything. A portion of supply chain to an extent where you feel can be outsourced should be outsourced to the third party, because in supply chain, irrespective of your volumes, you cannot develop expertise in every area, but you will find experts of every area. You will find an expert transporter, you will find an expert warehousing people, you will find the people with an expertise in trade compliances. So it is advisable to take the expertise of them and outsource some portion of your supply chain or full portion of your supply chain, depending upon your business. This will help you in reducing cost and taking the expertise also. Now, what expertise can be brought by such experts? Like my expertise is in EOUs, SEZ, chemical, pharma. Similarly, Panigrahi sir worked in a lot of textile company and similar type and glass industry. So by virtue of our working, we get in touch with the many of such type of people, and whenever there are changes or the practices involved in the market, we get updated by them, and that expertise you are borrowing by outsourcing that part of the supply chain, and here you get the benefit out of them, because we deal with the many shipper, many consignee, and will get a more knowledge about it, and that knowledge has to be utilized by you people. Another aspect is improving on the inventory accuracy. An importer and exporter who is warehousing their goods or trading their item, they must have information about the right inventory. Before starting of the program, Panigrahi sir was referring about just-in-time concept. Just-in-time concept is very good, but the concept got a lot of disruption during the COVID. If you have not planned your product, if you just dependent on just-in-time in terms of the logistics cost, in terms of the procurement, you are out of the business. So improve inventory accuracy, the data, the touch points are very important whenever you are handling or your business is dependent on imports and exports. Because when you are planning within India, one type of planning will work. When you are dealing with an overseas business, you need to be dependent on various factors. And these factors can be different laws, the shipping companies cartel, the space related issues, and nowadays we have a war related issues also. So anything on the European side or nearby to the Ukraine or related to Ukraine and Russia is impacting the entire logistics. Just give you one example. Somebody asked me whether the war impact the supply chain or not. Even the item which is not related to the Russia and Ukraine will have some amount of impact. Say something like if main road of a city, any road, any main road get choked out, it impact even the road which is 5 kilometers away also. The shipping routes will get a disruption. The flags, the shipping flags, which are the owners are from these countries, or the transit ports which are impacted by these wars also will have impact on the total supply chain. So inventory accuracy is important. Another aspect is the consolidation of the shipment, which everybody does it, but require more prudent planning with respect to the sector, which sectors you are sending the goods, where more, which service provider is good in that particular sector. Every service provider has certain expertise, like me or other service provider will have some expertise in terms of the routes. You need to identify who is best in that particular route, who is good in China, can provide a better rate, who is good in the European side, who is good in the American side. And that will help you in reduction in the cost and ultimately make your supply chain better. The another aspect is the transparency part. I would not say that you share your business secret with everybody, but as far as, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Proceed, sir.
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah. The reason of asking in between is in case I'm missing or sometimes the technical lag. Yeah. So I'm saying that you need not to share all your business secrets with your service provider, but at least you can share your plan of action. How many containers you are going to export, how many containers you are going to import, what is the tonnage you are going to provide. That will help in planning internally also. And it is wise to have a service provider who understand your need, understand your product, and his loyalty will help, his expertise will help you in going to have a better supply chain system or cost-effective supply chain system. There are two aspects which also impact your logistics cost. One is the selection of the port, and another one is the mode of transportation. Now, let us take an example with respect to Hyderabad. Even sometimes we get a cheaper freight rate for Chennai from Chinese port. Still, people prefer to import at Mumbai, JNPT. And the simple reason is Further connectivity from Chennai to Hyderabad by rail is poor in comparison to JNPT to Hyderabad. From JNPT to Hyderabad, we have a regular train, 35 trains in a month. From Chennai, we have weekly or 10 days train. So even if you import at a few days lesser in Chennai, still you end up in getting the shipment late. So this is just one of the example. You need to verify in your case which side you are working toward and which port is suitable to you. In some of the cases, for the export, Krishnapatnam suits better for the southern India, and in case for the northern India, Mundra port suits to many people, and for some people it is JNPT. Delhi cargo is going to JNPT, Delhi cargo is going to Mundra both, but depending upon the frequencies, depending upon the requirement. As a exporter and importer, you should also indulge yourself into the selection of port, mode of transport, because of the business reason, sometime you may not be advised about other ports by your service provider. For a simple reason, he may not have a connectivity in those ports. He may not have offices in those ports. Like ourselves, we do not have offices in all 168 ports in India. But we advise the customer in such a way that they get the customer cost-effective solution. But sometimes you need to advise which port is important for you. Sometimes nearness to the port is important, but frequency of vessel plays an important role. One of our customer into the steel manufacturing exports steel item. Their factory is near Kolkata, 200 kilometers from Kolkata, but export from Chennai because they are not getting sufficient containers from Haldia port. So selection of port also important in smoother supply chain. Mode of transport, you can have a multi-modal mode of transportation also, and it requires some brainstorming calculation in terms of the freight, in terms of the number of days. But ultimately, it is a business call you need to take, whether a combination of transport will help you or you stick to your air mode of transportation or sea mode of transportation. Sometimes I've seen among the shippers and importers, it is a mindset issue. I'll use only this particular airlines. I'll use only this shipping line. Because 15 years back, something happened with that airlines and that shipping line. Trust every 2-3 years, the entire company is changing. Some of the companies are being taken over. Some of the companies have improved a lot. So try to explore things not based on your previous experience and mindset. Try to explore on the present. We have discussed about the loading and unloading automation, and within the factory or within the place of warehouse. Warehousing also makes an important if you are exporting a bulk item. But it also important for you when you are exporting an agro product like vegetables, fruits. It is important to know where you are aggregating, what type of facility that warehouse provide. If a warehouse provide a packing services also, it becomes a more suitable warehouse. How many touch points in terms of loading, unloading involved in your final exports? Because loading and unloading and intermediate transport has a cost. Selection of transport service provider is important because sometimes you don't get the vehicle, and to get that type of vehicle, you need to have the pool of transporter who has services, who has their own vehicle and connect, who can provide vehicle on time. For example, one of our customer imported servers which require a specific handling. It needed a air suspension truck. Mind it, air suspension trucks are those trucks which has got a air suspension and not very much available. Even in Hyderabad, maybe very few are available. If you want to arrange a air suspension truck, it will take 3 to 5 days minimum. And if that exercise is done after the clearance or before the clearance, you will end up in losing that time. So you need to understand your product requirement and make arrangement in advance. Route optimization is important, which route it will take, but mostly it is a transporter's prerogative or transporter's style of functioning, and you can check whether that route is optimized, suits to your product, or there are better methods available. Gentlemen, any questions so far on this matter? Okay, I'm proceeding. If any questions, you can always ask, even at the end also. These are some of the facility which customs department has created for faster clearance. Customs department, which was earlier known as a tax collector, has changed its profile in the last 20 years. Now they are become the facilitator to the trade apart from their responsibility of tax collector. In the last 5 years, the type of changes happened. It becomes difficult for a service provider to cope up with the requirement. Even during one of my meeting with the CBIC chairman, this point was raised. The changes are happening very fast and it need an expertise. It need an expertise to understand them. And in the last 5 years, the type of changes happened has changed the entire timelines of the clearance. And one of the thing is the risk management service, commonly known as RMS. Under this, your document, your filed document does not go for a human intervention of the assessment. The system does assessment automatically based on the parameter. And you'll be surprised nowadays, for us, 70% documents goes under RMS. But these type of parameters are changed from port to port and type of importer, exporter, and service provider. Second is the SWIFT. In case of a SWIFT, the CBIC has connected the PGS, the participating government agencies, online with the customs department. In early days, if we need to take a clearance from NOC from CDSO, animal quarantine, plant quarantine, tax process, or FSSAI, we used to take up the file to their department and going to them for the clearance. Now these are well connected with the customs, file automatically goes to them and they are clearing very fast. But in case it doesn't happen, you must approach them and understand the working timings of them, working style of them. A lot of delays takes place when we start expecting the same thing from the customs department style. Like CDSO doesn't work 24/7 and all 7 days in a day. Manjuna ji, you raised the hand. Please ask the question.
Sir, good evening. It was quite interesting to hear the information behind. Actually, it was quite going good. Actually, that coming to the cost reductions, there actually I have some point. Actually, in case when we miss the vessel, till the next vessel happen for us to making two huge detention charges. Actually, how to avoid, how to come across?
You mean to say you booked in a particular vessel and it has missed the vessel?
Yeah. Yes, you're right.
See, normally every shipping company has a vessel schedule, weekly schedule. If you are missing by say 5 days only. 5 to 7 days.
Yes, sometimes it is 14 days. Sometimes it is last consignment of 14 days something. Happen for us to incur some huge detention charges. Actually, that's what is. It happens. Sometimes it happens. Actually,
correct. So the only solution is to place your container in the cheaper warehousing place. If you find it that the next 14 days your container will be in the costly place, try to shift into the cheaper place. The only thing is, only challenge will happen when you don't know it is going to take 14 days. You feel it is 3 days, then again 3 days, then again 4 days. by this way, if it is increasing, there the challenges comes. But if you know straight away that 14 days is going to take, you can shift your container to the to the cheaper warehousing place, or negotiate with the shipping line that this vessel crossing or the vessel missing has happened because of your mistake, so I should not be charged the penalty or the detention for that. Hope you're talking about the export transaction.
Yeah. You're correct. Yes.
Yeah. So if that happens, we have to negotiate with them that this is not our mistake, and that require your intervention. There is a possibility your service provider may not like to confront with the shipping line. Understand one thing, there is something known as a conflict of interest. I have got a 5 client dealing with one particular shipping line for one particular customer. I cannot start fighting with them or confronting with them, because other business interest is also involved in that. That you need to understand the limitation of a service provider and take up this matter directly with them, that you committed this, you need to do this. And with the shipping company and the
one more thing. Say, will it be possible to change the vessel actually? Say document
Yes,
of property. That's my question. My expected answer is actually, will it be possible to change some document change or something, to change the vessel itself instead of going to this
yes,
vessel?
it is possible.
Sorry?
It is possible. It is possible.
How much the lead time will take, to change the documents, everything? What will be the maximum lead time?
In case of air, 1 day, and it's in case of sea, it should take 2 days. But major challenges will come when your export is from the ICD, container is at JNPT. Now you want to change the vessel because your custom station, the cargo has left your custom station.
Correct.
The challenges will come that in those cases, it is difficult. It is possible, but takes time. But if it has the same custom station and it has not left it, it is easier. In case of air cargo, it is quite easier and happening around. Change of airway, change of ship airlines, it's happening.
I'm talking only the ocean.
Yeah, ocean export from ICD is a challenge.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot for clarity. You can proceed.
Yeah, and one important aspect in this, I would say, try to be in communication with the shipping line, have something in writing with respect to the vessel booking or change in the vessel or anything, so that you can later on you can always refer their commitment that this is what happened and you are committed to do that. Avoid verbal communication.
Yeah.
Right. Everything should be in the writing, and again, it should not be assumed. Your email should have the complete transaction details and the basic commitment given to you. So whenever you are booking, you insist your service provider to share that document in which booking takes place. Not just a mail from your freight forwarder. If it is happening recurring or it is common for you. Another aspect is authorized economic operator. Government of India has created this scheme to reduce the timelines and to have more trust on the importer and exporter. If you demonstrate some level of compliances, they are going to provide you certain facilities with respect to the examination waiver, with respect to the faster clearance, with respect to the submission of the bank guarantees and direct port delivery. In fact, if you are an authorized economic operator, you have an option to take the direct port delivery of import without container going into the CFS. Try to understand, whenever a container is cleared from a CFS, it consumes time, it consumes cost. But direct port delivery requires some higher amount of planning because they provide only 48 hours to take the delivery. Before that, you have to complete your custom formalities. And while applying for the DPD, every time you have to mention what exactly you want. Faceless assessment we have already discussed. The Carotar 20, yeah. Carotar 20, actually it's wrongly written as 21. This 20, it is a facility or mechanism by the customs department under which they verify the document when you are claiming the benefit under free trade agreement. I was talking to some of the departmental person. He said in future we are going to have lot of trade among the bilateral trades. Bilateral trade agreements means whenever there is an agreement between the two regional blocks or the government by providing subsidy in terms of reduction in the tariff, facilitation to their product, each other product, in order to have a better economic activity. And India has entered into the various trade agreements with the various countries. There are 11 trade agreement and 6 preferential tariff agreement. And if you are intending to claim the benefit under that, you have to follow Carotar rules, which involve rules of origin, rules of claiming the benefit. Now, in comparison to the previous years, rules are quite clear. The powers related to the customs officer are quite clear. What document an importer or exporter need to provide is quite clear. But again, it is under the this is under the maturity. It is taking some time. The teething problem is going on among the traders. So that is happening. And one important aspect for the faster clearance government has come out is the time release study, which was not earlier. Government itself does keep check on their timing of their work, which is a rare case in the any of the department, but it is happening in the customs department. They check from January to February month whether the custom clearance is happening faster, what are the additional effort required in terms of infrastructure, in terms of the change in law to facilitate the trade, to have the ease of doing the business. Just to give you some impact on the trade agreement, whenever you are importing under the free trade agreement using the Carotar rules, important is you have to demonstrate true origin of the goods. Because, for example, Government of India enter into a agreement with China of some of the items, 100, 200 items will be exempted from some amount of duty, provided they are originating from China, Singapore, Thailand, or some of the Asian countries. Here, important aspect for an importer is to demonstrate the goods are from that origin. And the origin criteria is mentioned in the free trade agreement. Sometimes a item which has got a 40% originated material is considered origin. Sometimes it is 60%, depending upon the trade agreement. And this requires some amount of study from the importer side if they are claiming the benefit, because ultimately, even after the clearance, up to 5 years, you have to demonstrate your claim of true origin is right. In that case, you have to demonstrate whether your goods are wholly originated from that country or partially, or has some amount of regional value content, or there is a change in tariff classification due to the process of manufacturing, due to the different component used in the manufacturing process. We have 20-30 minutes. In that, I would like to cover one or two important aspects. From 1st January 2022, there has been change in the Hsn code. Some new Hsn code are introduced. Some codes are splitted into subheading level, and some remain same. So if you are a regular importer from the past, you need to see whether there is any change in your Hsn code, because Hsn code is an important criteria for providing you duty exemption or policy related activities. If your Hsn code is incorrect, you will end up in getting the notices from the government customs department. Here, I would like to clarify one important point. In the past, custom was issuing notices only in the cases where there was a revenue implication. But for the last 2-3 years, people are getting the notices even there is no revenue implication, but tariff heading is wrong, or if there is a dispute over the classification. So try to be clear about the classification. Some gentlemen ask, is it the same as MEIS with respect to no, MEIS is different and this is different. So new Hsn code.
No, sir. It's a Carota. So what it is called earlier.
No, yeah, Carota. So no, Carotar is a rules, custom administration rules of trade, rules of origin in trade agreement, and MEIS is the benefit given by the government as a subsidy or an incentive against the export. Carotar is a benefit under imports, or basically how to define the rules of origin. Suppose an item is manufactured in Bangkok, has some content from China or USA or Europe. So it has demonstrated what criteria has to be adopted for considering is an true origin goods. Suppose if a duty exemption benefit is given to the product imported from Bangkok, in such case, if somebody imports at Bangkok from say Germany and send it to India, will it qualify for an exemption or not? Answer is no, because the rules of origin of goods has certain criteria. What can be considered, how much amount of originated product to be used. They are allowed to use the product of other origin also, but there are percentage defined. So this is basically, those are rules for origin, and MEIS is an incentive. So when it comes to the Hsn 2020-22, it is advisable to go through your product, see whether there is any new classification is given or it is the old one. I would like to give you the classical case how the duty exemption notification changes. One of my clients into the automobile category, importing certain automobile item, and availing duty exemption for last 2-3 years. Suddenly from 31st March onward, there was a condition involved with respect to the end use of the product. If those products are used in manufacturing of car and bike, your exemption will not be applicable. So my point is, even if you are taking an exemption for a long time, keep on verifying whether our exemption are right and continued. Is there any change happened or not? Do not just keep on claiming the exemption. There has to be a audit, which Panigrahi has stressed on. There has to be a supply chain audit. There has to be a custom audit. We are used to of financial audit. We are used to of ISO audit, but we have not come across with a supply chain audit. We have not come across with a custom audit, which talks about, which checks your claim, exemption claim, which checks your Hsn code, which checks whether export item, whether where you have given the dangerous goods document are in line or not, whether your airwayable claims are descriptions are correct or not. Even these type of penalties, these type of audit issues are costlier. Government has introduced one of the, yeah, please.
Friends colony.
Yeah, gentlemen, please mute it. For the export purpose, government has introduced a new incentive scheme known as ROTDEP. That is refund of taxes and duties on export product. These are the refund of those duties and taxes which were not refunded earlier, and a small amount of incentive from varying from 0.5% to 3 or 4% against your FOB value of export is given. The good part with this scheme is not introduced by the DGST. This is introduced by the Customs Department, implemented by the Customs Department, and does not involve any physical document. When you export, you get electronic script. This script can be utilized for the payment of your import duty. This script can be transferred to other importer or exporter. This reduces the time of verification, time of validity, like what we are facing with the MEIS and SES. Nowadays, the validation criteria, the DGFT server and custom server are not talking to each other. Transfer related issues, those issues will not be there. This is much advanced, better automated, and having a better flexibility. Purushottamji has asked, is there any standard checklist of supply chain audit? Answer is no. Reason is every product demands different type of compliance. Exporter and importer for pharma product are more inclined or need to be more compliant toward the CDSO. And product who are importing automobile will have a different requirement in terms of the compliances. People who are importing under the project import regulation have a more inclination toward completing the requirement under the project import regulations. So there is no standard checklist, but few things I can say. Whenever you are into the regular import and export activities, keep track of your duty exemptions, your record maintenance, your Hsn code, because if these are not correct, you will end up in getting the queries from respective department. You can create your own checklist, but these three things has to be the criteria for that. And in case you are dealing with the countries which demand different compliance level of exports, has to be taken care. Now, Jay asked, any solution for EDIV is not getting reflected in IDPMS. The only solution is get the certificate from the customs department and certify the banker's need of proof of import and export, whether it's the IDPMS or EDPMS. It can happen with anything. And we come across with a transaction where free of cost transaction declared as a free of cost but was a paid transaction, or a paid transaction declared as free of cost, vice versa. Those type challenges also we face. These are time consuming amendments but does not reflect in IDPMS and EDPMS even after amendments. So the only solution is get the certificate from the customs department if it is not reflecting, because your export and import is genuine. You can demand the certificate. Few important things I would like to say which has changed in the last few years. You are expected to do the ICE gate registration. Earlier it was not mandatory. Now you need to do it because a lot of incentives, lot of information are connected with that. And you are advised to update your AD code online. Earlier, at the time of filing of bill of entry and shipping bill, we were furnishing it. Now you are expected to declare AD code in case of export port wise. Earlier, we had an option to use the multiple AD code and change it at the time of filing shipping bill of entry itself. Now the department wants you to update online in your ledger itself. If you are claiming benefit under some of the notification which demands imported to follow the instruction as per the imported goods at concessional rate of duty, that ledger is also visible in the IceGate portal, and the execution of bond, item to be displayed, everything has to be updated online in the IceGate portal. In case you find it any difficulty, you can approach me, my team. I can connect you to my team, because this is very important, and these are the revolutionary development in terms of the customs. Slowly the custom is getting paperless. No document is required to be furnished with the customs. Every document has to be uploaded, scanned. So your locational requirement, your signatory related challenges have gone. Now from any part of the world, you can upload, you will get a IRN, GRN number, and that reference number you can always quote for further communication. Any letter, appeal, everything is happening online. So my suggestion to all importer exporter, do the ICE gate registration, do the registration with the DGFT, and do your import export transaction online. So this is all from my side, and I'm open to the questions which is not asked so far. And even you can ask which is not relevant to the customs, clearance, logistics, but related to import export. You feel I can answer. Even if I'm not able to answer, I can arrange the information through my connect and contact. So this is all from my side. You can ask anything, or if you feel not now, you can ask later also.
Yes, delegates, any your questions? In fact, very excellent session covering very practical issues which you can't find elsewhere, like in if you search in the Google search or any books and references, nowhere you will get, because these are practical related issues. So this is very good opportunity we have. If you have any doubts, let us have a clearances, because an expert before us that has all the clarifications. If you have anything want to clarify on import and export related, please. Padmanabhan,
Yeah.
sir, we have
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Container shipment with one invoice value which is not covered in PO. You mean to say they have sent it without your information, certain things? Padmanabhanji,
Yes, sir.
you said we have placed an order for machinery along with the accessory, but seller dispatched machinery through
seller
bank.
was dispatched without pre-intimation, sir. And we have placed the order for machinery along with the accessories. He supplied the machinery as per PO unit price, and again he supplied the accessories through container shipment.
So what is the challenge you are facing in clearance?
No, we are not facing any challenges. We are reissued the purchase order, new purchase order. But as for RBI norms, that is not the correct import.
See, whenever there is a violation of LC conditions, you have an option to accept it or to deny it. And if you deny, they will not get the payment.
Okay.
So, but in order to have a better relationship between the buyer and seller, you need to see the mistake done by the seller is of can be ignored or not, whether it is impacting you commercially or not. In case you end up in paying more demurrage and detention, you can demand that because of you, your mistake, I have suffered this much financial impact, so I should be compensated with that, and then only I'll accept the LC condition. So you can always negotiate your position. Something like that, your mistake you pay and I will pay for my mistake.
Shipment was cleared smoothly. There is no damages.
You can issue a subsequent purchase order and always demonstrate that this particular item was a part of the previous PO, but separately sent it.
But that value is not covered in LC.
So that payment can be sent separately out of LC transaction. LC transaction and this transaction can be separated.
But my PO is indicating along with tax series, machinery along with tax series.
So PO amendment कर लीजिए भाई साहब.
Yeah. Thank you.
PO amendment is the only solution, but need to keep underlying document or communication with yourself, because in case RBI issues a notice, you should be in position to defend yourself. That this is a commercial requirement and genuine transaction and part and parcel of the master PO.
We can say it is a revised PO.
Yeah, revised PO under these conditions happened.
Or while
The
filing the
P-
bill of material, we can get a revised invoice and pay for the lesser value, clear the goods, and get the accessories separately and pay for it. And we can cover the same LC. It will be a part shipment, right?
Yeah, it's a part shipment, can be considered as a part shipment. The only challenges will happen in case of the bulk import. When you clear it, you come to know about after opening that some accessories have not come, but you have already filed the document and paid the duty on those items.
That's right.
There the challenges come. When you import again, you have to pay the transfer the foreign exchange for that item again. That is the challenge normally. Any more questions, please?
And Mr. Santosh Singh's up very good. Your suggestion for e-certification course, and yes, we have in mind to conduct many such courses which are long duration, not like 2 hours. 2 hours is a very small time, because many of the topics we can't cover and justify, and complete like import and export we can't cover. Definitely it can't be justified. So we are planning for some courses like 25 hours courses, 10 sessions, each session like 2.5 hours or 2 hours, like almost like 20 to 25 hours course, like 10 days span. On one is on import and export, the other one has in GST, the other one has on project management, which is my core strength. These topics also we are in mind to conduct the courses, but it will take some time, and we announce in coming days. Maybe we are planning also with other branches collaboratively to conduct certain courses, because alone we may or may not be able to bring to such audience and other things. So therefore we are thinking of shortly we may come out with some courses which are complete in a year. I mean, so for import and export, for example, one session we can take complete like 25 hours or 20 hours. During this 15 days like period we can take. Similarly, like logistics, again export logistics again is a biggest challenge. Especially I have faced such challenges, because when I was there in Aditya Birla Group in a project division, and I was in charge of the project for the procurement and contracts, then we have faced a challenge about the project logistics. Project logistics is not like other type of logistics. These are different type of challenges. So that is also we want to conduct one program. This apart, project procurement is one of my own subject core strength, in fact. So that is also we are want to conduct some programs. So forthcoming many such programs are lined up, and with all your cooperation and your suggestions, definitely we will do justice for this. And I will now hand over to our chairman, sir, Janardhan Rao Garu, say a few things, then we can conclude the session if there is no other questions.
Yes, sir. Yes, thank you very much, all of you, and patiently and curiosity shown to learn these export-import management and its difficulties and overcomes. Thank you very much. And in future, as said our course director, many more programs we will conduct after proper planning and all, and with the collaboration of the other branches also, and try to reach each and every industry to bring them, to make them in a quality of their professional knowledge, and connect with the IIM, with the industry also. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Over to that course director, Panigrahi sir.
Thank you, sir. And of course, this is a very excellent session. And many of the very renowned experts are in this panel, in this delegations. So many of these curiously stayed till the end of the session, very interestingly. So I really thank for this our Mr. Kamal Jain to spare his time. And of course, he was initially told he is traveling during that time. But as my special request, he has taken this time also, he has spent it. And in between also, we have many interactions, how to go about this program and all things. Then we want to make this a success. So thanks, Kamal Jain sir. Very excellently, you have covered the topics. And also you have covered a lot of the doubts which our delegates have. You have clarified. And also we look forward many such sessions. And also we call Kamal Jain sir. Next month we have a program that will be physical program. Of course, so that theme also decided by our national team. So that is on the supply chain resilience. One program, of course, we are conducted on supply chain resilience management, and he has covered out the risk audit also in the supply chain. Again, this is of course another topic we are selecting now. On 23rd April, we are conducting a physical mode, the one year session, and I request all of you, all the delegates, please be participate in that. That will be free of cost session. And also we want to make certain family gathering. It is not like just some interested members can join. No, along with family. That is what we want to integrate with family. Family members and everybody comes, then it will be a good event, because this is our annual event, annual function. Like any of the festival for means materials management and that institute, our institute, this is the annual festival. So we want to make it as a grant. So we want to make it with the family members. So all of you are welcome. And also I request Kamal Jain sir, make time spare, because you are traveling many times here and there. Make that time, your time, and come along with your family for this function. And that is how with this I want to close, because the time is off. And any other questions are there? Of course, Kamal Jain has given his address or contact details, or you can address to us. We can refer to Kamal Jain, and he will again come back and answer to your questions. With this, any other things are there we can discuss? Otherwise, we are closing this. Thanks to all of you. Thanks patiently staying till the end of the session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kamal ji. Thank you.
Thank you. Soumyaj garu, namaskaram andi. Namaskaram. And many of the delegates are there. I'm not able to address individually, but for everybody, good means good gathering you have till the end of you have participated. And Rajeshwara garu, last time also you have participated. Many times you are participating. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And Siva Yogi garu, last time also you have participated. Now also you are participating. Very good. And our future program also, please participate.
Sir, Siva Yogi garu is our life member, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. His kit also received. We will courier it shortly.
Okay, okay.
Rajeshwara garu, you are from Jagepeta?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am from Jagepeta. I am RINL Vizag Steel Plant.
Oh, good, good. Last time I have make a call to. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ji.
Rajeshwara garu and Siva Yogi garu, last time also they both of them, last all our programs they participated. And of course, so we are seeking their cooperation for the future programs also.
Yes, sure, sure. Rajeshwara garu, next our MM day, Siva Yogi garu also.
Yes, sir.
We are cordially inviting. We will send a card also in a WhatsApp group or a email.
Definitely we'll join.
We will expecting your presence in MM Day meeting.
Yes.
Function, not a meeting. It's a function.
Okay.
And Anuradha Shah, madam from the that institute, madam Anurita, madam Anurita Das.
Yes.
Yes, madam. Good evening. And of course, first time you are interacting.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Good evening, madam.
Yeah,
Good evening. Good evening.
Thanks for your means from the institute. Your lecturer, I believe, or professor in that institute.
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. Madam, we can interact because many of the programs we are also focusing on the student activities.
Okay.
And both the institute we can collaborate also, conducting
wow, that's
courses
great.
with institutes,
Okay.
So that way we can, madam from the Janardhan Garu, madam
Yes,
from
sir.
the St. Mary's College.
Okay, sir.
Madam from
Well.
St. Mary's College. Of course, many times we communicate through WhatsApp and everything.
Yes.
But of course, like this we never met. But through WhatsApp, of course, we are communicating many times.
Yes, yes.
So, madam from the Commerce Department.
No, I am from the management department in
management.
Mary's.
Yes, St. Mary's Management Department.
Yeah.
So what we thought is, Janardhan Garu, with your permission, sometime we may conduct some program for the students.
Okay.
And of course, St. Anne's also very interested. We are with touch with them. We are going to sign a MOU also with St. Anne's College, Women's College.
Okay, sir.
And also, of course, St. Mary's also will join some of the our MOU.
Yes, sir.
And we can conduct joint programs. Many of the supply chain, we are into supply chain management.
Okay.
And many type of programs we used to conduct on the supply chain, logistics, procurement, warehouse, inventory, procurement, public procurement. Also, last time we have conducted a program. Like many programs we are conducting very frequently.
All this we are actually dealing with this, all this. So it will be beneficial for our students as well.
Yes, yes, madam.
Yeah.
So especially if you want any special courses also suit to your students means so that also we can design accordingly, we can deliver also.
Yes,
and
definitely.
Also we are conducting like some programs we have told you. We are conducting some import and export program on certification programs.
Okay.
On that is for the 25 hours or 20 hours. That's just we are planning, and that is also we can conduct. And many other programs we are in mind to conduct on the procurement. Then on the public procurement also we want to conduct a program. And separately the entrepreneurship also, of course, with St. Anne's we are talking about how to make women entrepreneurship development. On that also we are thinking of developing some course. So like that, if you are also interested, sometime we can in a Zoom meeting along with your team and our Hyderabad team also, we can join in a Zoom meeting. We can discuss and carry forward further these proposals.
Okay, all right.
Madam?
So how do we go ahead with this? Like where do I contact?
No, you know me. Very frequently we are communicating through WhatsApp. WhatsApp.
Yeah.
So anytime of your times and I think you tell us, so we can make some Zoom meeting along with your team members also. I make some proposals and look into those proposals, and then you think it is suitable for both the institutes join together to do some joint programs for the good of the students. So definitely will come. We make to proceed further, madam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anthony, sir. Anthony, sir, you are there?
Yes,
Anthony
sir.
Joseph.
Is there, sir? I think
No,
that
no, he's
is
there,
not.
but he is not talking.
Yes.
Okay. 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 Anybody want to discuss anything? Otherwise, we are closing this one.
Rajeshwara garu.
Sir.
Sir, next time we are expecting the students from your side, and as well as I am also thinking to send one poster to that area, sir. It's a shootable area. We can
Okay,
paste it, yeah, with your help and all, because there is a college Gantala in Jagepeta, na?
yes, college is there.
There, yes, sir. Said the next time we will advancedly plan it to attract the students, because we are teaching with the professionals. It's a help to them in a PG courses and all. Your help is needed in next admissions and all.
No problem. No problem, Ji. We'll extend all the help, and whatever is possible from our side, we will definitely.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Sai Kumar. Sai Kumar, you are there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Sai Kumar. How you are feeling about the program?
Yes, sir. Very good, sir.
Sai Kumar from Foreign Par?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. Sai
Good.
Kumar is our new batch student.
He's
So,
in a sea shipment.
Yeah.
Yes. Surya Bhagwan is also there, sir, in a team.
Surya Bhagwan is joined. Yes.
Yes,
Joined later. Yes. I have seen him in Surya Bhagwan also.
Sai
Sai
Kumar,
Kumar.
sir,
Yes.
please, please go ahead.
So Sai Kumar, you got all the books also?
No, sir. I did not receive any books.
But you got the link for this studies on the website?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That you are already received. Okay.
Sir.
And you write to your, okay, I will communicate to the NHQ.
Okay,
and they dispatch some books also. Some people have received.
Okay.
And in a group also you are mentioned who are not received. For example, you are also there in a group.
Yes, sir.
We have created a new batch, a group, a WhatsApp group. There you post it, and others also we request who are not received the books, if they can write, so that we can communicate to the concerned national headquarters. Then we'll come back.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So with Swami Azulgar also has a backing for you,
Sir.
and you prove that you stood and the first. That is the spirit.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Because we are all backing you, supporting you,
Sir.
and you have to prove that you stand first in our means in all over India. You have to
Definitely,
stand first. For that,
Okay,
lot of efforts you have to put in. Of course, from the beginning, if you start studying, not at the time of the exam, 1 month, 2 months before, you can study and you can write the these assignments. That is not the approach.
Yes, sir.
The approach is you have to make from the beginning itself, then comfortably, because we are all working professionals.
Yes,
we can't spend time at the last moment, like at the last 1 month and 15 days. We can't spend the time.
Yes, sir.
So therefore, from the beginning, you start make a plan. Every day, for example, a half an hour to 1 hour, make a plan of studies. So that is enough. That is enough.
Okay,
much more enough. And also participate like these programs. So your general about the subject related matters, the knowledge will enhance.
Definitely, sir.
So good, because today's session is very relevant to you.
Yes,
you are
sir.
also into the CHA in operations. So these are very relevant to you also. So you can gain a lot of things, right?
Okay.
Good, good. And Surya Bhagavan?
Surya Bhagavan, morning I have told, sir.
Acha, acha, very good, sir. Very good. Very good. Very good.
Good evening, sir. All of you.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening. And how
Thanks.
you felt
Thanks,
about
sir.
the program?
Yes. Sorry, sir. Very
How
much
you-
interested, sir. Very much.
interested.
Sir.
And where you are working now?
Present, I'm working in Arunachal Logistics, sir. Deputy Manager in Maintenance.
Where?
Arunachal Logistics. Priya Cements.
Acha, logistics. Okay. Priya Cement Logistics. Okay. Good.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Good. And also, you maybe many of your friends and colleagues.
Yes,
you
sir.
can inform them to join many of our programs. Our means the courses are there, 2 years courses, you know very well. And this apart, time to time we are conducting short-term courses or short-term like 1 day like courses like that, or like this small 2 hours like courses also programs we are conducting. So
Okay, sir,
encourage your friends and I think also whenever we are communicating to you, you also communicate further to your contacts. You must have many of the friends and your colleagues, your relations or many contacts. So
Sure,
you
sir,
can
sure, sir.
circulate to all of them so that you are also like engaged with institute. It's not like engaged institute is like we are 3-4 people. No, the institute is a voluntary institute. We have more than 9,500 plus members are there all over India.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And you also become a member and actively involved. We are all
Okay, sir,
active.
sure, sir.
We are all volunteers only. The institute runs over the volunteers. Okay. So
Okay, sir.
please involve with institute activities and promote the institute programs and etc. So that you also get in return lot of knowledge, lot of improvements in your career. And if you are in the group, like many times you are circulating many of the subject related materials and other things.
Okay,
And
sir.
do you receiving every month this our MMR magazine?
MMM magazine received a soft copy, sir, not
A soft copies
hard
only,
copy.
because we have stopped the hard copies. Only exceptional few cases we are giving the hard copies. Otherwise, we have stopped the printing of the hard copies because of the COVID. You know, many of the printing machine that shops also printing this printers also they stopped it. They're not printing, so that therefore we have stopped it and started online. Later when these are resumed, but we are making limited printing only limited printing.
Okay,
and
sir, okay.
All those things are we are circulating through online. And in fact whenever the comes, in fact I am the first person circulating to all over India.
Okay, sir, okay.
Because it comes to me first.
Okay, sir.
So that
Thank
is
you,
how we have a good rapport with all these activities. And every time, of course, my articles also used to come in MMR magazine. You go through it, and every time we are selecting certain subject. Like in a March issue, you must have observed this is the public procurement, that subject. All the articles covered on the public procurement, the latest development, latest circulars and notifications, all those things are there. Okay. And previous also we have covered up the public procurement plus supply chain related activities. And forthcoming issue, we are covering about supply chain related risk resilience. So what is how to manage the risk related, because many of the risk happened in the supply chain in the last few years, 2-3 years like that. And how to combat this type of risks. On that issue is coming up, that is in the April month issue. And in April month, of course, I told you, and our chairmen have also told you, we are conducting a program on 23rd April. 23rd April, that is MM Day, our management materials management day. That is our festival, our institute festival. So please participate there. And
Sure, sir,
we are inviting along with your friends or along with your family members, you can come. Okay,
sure, sir,
we
come.
can circulate
Welcome.
these things shortly, so that accordingly you make convenient that time. You block the time right now, because that is 100% happens on that same day. So this is like our birthday. Birthday can't be postponed, right?
Okay.
Not that
Okay,
today's birthday we can postpone to next month. We can't postpone like this. Our institute birthday is the 23rd April.
Yes, sir.
So on that day, incidentally that happened to be Saturday, very convenient to all the members, professionals, and all the working professionals. So therefore, we are conducting on that day, preferably on the night. Along with the dinner, we are making the planning. So please participate it along with your family or friends who have the circles are there. You can please participate.
Okay, sir, sure. Sir. So one more thing, sir. One more
Yes.
request, sir.
Yes.
I need a video for this section, sir.
Okay, okay.
Recording you want?
Recording. Okay, definitely we'll
Yes,
see.
sir. Recording.
Recording, of course, we'll take the consent of the Kamal Jain. Of course, Kamal Jain is my good friend. I will take no issue because certain times some speakers make certain restrictions.
Yes.
So anyhow, I'll take that his permission, no issue, and definitely I will make the circulation this video, no issue.
Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
So
Thank you,
let
sir.
us
Thank you, sir.
close now. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Swami Ajay garu namaskaram andi.
Namaskaram, sir.
And thank to all of you for
Very good session, sir.
pardon, sir.
Very good session.
సార్ గుడ్ సెషన్ సార్. అందరూ పార్టిసిపేట్ చేస్తే బాగా చాలా మంచిగానే అవుతుంది.
మంచి
అందరూ
session, sir.
ఇన్వాల్వ్ అయితే చాలా మంచిగానే అవుతుంది అనమాట. అఫ్ కోర్స్ లాస్ట్ మూమెంట్ సమ్ హౌ వి హావ్ మొబిలైజ్డ్. ఓకే, ఇట్స్ గుడ్. బట్ ఫ్యూచర్ లో కూడా మన అందరూ కలిసి ఇక్కటగానే చేసుకుంటే చాలా మంచిగా ప్రోగ్రామ్ జరుగుతుంది అనమాట. ఓకే సార్. ఓకే సార్, విత్ దిస్ లెట్ us క్లోజ్.
Thank you.
Thank you సార్. నమస్కారం.